Now on UpNorthLive News at 6. What happened to the idea about using school forest land to build workforce housing in Leelanau County? Our Alli Baxter investigates. Charges tonight against an Antrim County fugitive and the man accused of hiding him. An update on creating a veteran cemetery in Crawford County. Plus a look at a plan to bring an energy storage facility to Otsego County, what it is and how it works. And the vision one man has for the former Empire School building.
This is UpNorthLive News at 6 on 7 and 4.
"300 of Michigan's school districts have their own community forests. It's part of the state's 1931 Community Forest Act, which authorized the DNR to deed land to school districts as long as they were used for recreation or forestry purposes.
Now, one northern Michigan school district has an opportunity to potentially use some of its land to solve a housing crisis for its staff. Our Alli Baxter joins us live now from the Content Center. Alli, how did this idea get set into motion?
Yeah, Mark and Maya, we're told there have been conversations for the last year and a half between Glen Lake Community Schools, the DNR, and the nonprofit Sleeping Bear Gateway Council. But talks are paused, and there's no indication they're resuming anytime soon.
We were a little blindsided that we were eliminated.
Bill Whitler is the president of Sleeping Bear Gateway Council. In December, he and others were preparing to present an idea for workforce housing using just 40 acres of Glen Lake School's 180 acres of forest land. With 50% of staff set to retire in 5 years, Whitler says the nonprofit was approached by the superintendent and a school board member.
If you can't have workforce housing live here, they won't have kids to go to school here. Our schools will decline. Our businesses can't stay open. They will close. We will have, this will be a county of wealthy, retired people. We can't go that direction.
So according to Whitler, the nonprofit was directed to explore options. Ultimately, the DNR agreed to a proposal to accept a transfer of the 40 school-owned acres back to the state. In turn, they would issue a public use deed back to the school and allow workforce housing as a use of the property. But the nonprofit never had a chance to present their findings to the school board. They were removed from the December meeting agenda.
Then it all broke loose.
As Whitler explains, the nonprofit's motive was questioned, which confused him since he says there's really only two decision makers.
Glen Lake School Board and the DNR. We're there to facilitate, collaborate, add any expertise we can.
This is the presentation the nonprofit hoped to share, explaining the idea and why the school's land is the best fit.
I guess, to me, that's kind of apple pie, America, the flag, motherhood. I mean, how can you be against that?
Whitler says you can't take any 40 acres and turn it into housing, especially in an area with limited connections for water and sewer. And it's hard for him to believe the community would be against opportunities for workforce housing.
We don't appreciate the criticism for trying to do the right thing for the community, but that comes when you step up to make change. That's what you get, and then we're willing to take that heat to try to do the right thing.
Whitler tells me the group still hasn't been invited back to present to the school board. Glen Lake Superintendent Jason Miser declined an interview and sent a statement he read at the board's meeting in December, saying the board needs to become better educated on the current and future use opportunities. Live in the Content Center, Alli Baxter, back to you.
The Sault Ste. Marie Police Department is investigating a shooting incident that left 2 people dead this morning. It happened at Wood Creek Manor on Meridian Street in Sault Ste. Marie. The circumstances aren't clear, but investigators had to evacuate neighbors as they processed the scene, and locals were told to avoid the area as it's a crime scene. The department says there's no threat to the public at this time.
The Mount Pleasant Police Department is seeking the public's help in finding a man involved in an attempted armed robbery. Take a look at this picture of the suspect on your screen right now. The department says the incident is between 2 people who knew each other. Police say if you have any information on this man's location, you're asked to contact the Mount Pleasant Police Department's anonymous tip line. That number is at the bottom of your screen.
A Kalkaska County man wanted on a warrant from a fatal crash last summer and the man accused of helping him hide from police are facing new charges in Antrim County. According to court records, Cody Hockridge was arraigned today on a felony charge of assaulting, resisting, and obstructing a police officer. Hockridge was arrested over the weekend after the Antrim County Sheriff's Office received a tip he was at a home in Mansalona Township where he was found hiding under the floor. The homeowner, Derek Ray, was charged with harboring felons and lying to a peace officer. Hockridge was given a $25,000 cash bond and Ray a $25,000 10% bond. Both are scheduled to be back in court on February 19th.
And take a look at this video. Thermal imaging and support from the sky helped state police track down a suspect on the run in the Upper Peninsula. This was a search late last month as troopers joined forces with the Delta County Sheriff's Office. That after the suspect ditched his car in the woods. Thermal imaging led them to his hiding spot in the woods near Found Lake. A K-9 unit called in also helped track the suspect down. He later surrendered as investigators closed in.
The Lake County Sheriff's Office has received multiple reports regarding a real estate scam, and they're reminding you of what to look out for. Deputies say in one instance, a piece of land was fraudulently listed for sale through an out-of-area realtor. A neighbor questioned the sale with the owner's family. The sale was halted before it was complete. Deputies say in this case, the scammer went as far as creating a fake out-of-state ID using the property owner's personal information. They say the scammer was very convincing.
Property like this is easy to find because especially with Lake County here on the GIS mapping, you could go to that map and you could find, properties without homes on it, or vacant land and things like this. In this case, this was vacant land on Big Star Lake here in Lake County. And the scammer actually did a lot of research. They knew about the area, when they were discussing things with the realtor on the phone, they knew the area. But the only thing they didn't know was what the water depth was in front of the property.
Well, property owners are encouraged to be vigilant. Report all suspicious activity. Property owners should also contact their Register of Deeds office to have their property registered for a fraud alert if available. If you believe you may be the victim of fraudulent activity, you should contact your local law enforcement agency.
A Texas-based energy company plans to build a battery energy storage system near Gaylord. The company is introducing the concept at an open house tomorrow night. Our Daniel Zivian spoke with them to learn what this will do for the electrical grid and for the community.
Vesper Energy says 3 main ingredients brought them to Otsego County: a transmission line with enough capacity, a substation, and a landowner next door with 30 acres to spare.
Imagine a rechargeable battery, and instead of us plugging it into a wall, we plug it into those transmission lines right above. And then what the idea is that you charge these batteries during high peak times or low peak times, and then when we need the energy, we can discharge it.
Fike says this is Vesper's first standalone battery project, as the safety standards with lithium-ion batteries have improved. That stored electricity could be sent around northern Michigan.
If there's brownouts, blackouts, that's actually one of the beneficiaries of our technology, is that, it can instantly deliver 200, 300 megawatts of electricity. A megawatt can power about 1,000 homes. So, this is 300 megawatts, so 300,000 homes, essentially, this could potentially power.
Fike says the company didn't want to blindside local residents and is hosting Wednesday's open house well ahead of any official meetings. Alongside hundreds of construction jobs, Fike says Vesper will sign a legally binding pact with the community.
I've signed community benefit agreements with school districts, with community foundations, things of that nature. And essentially, this is money that we will invest in the community on top of our tax liability. And basically, this is just a way for us to be a good community partner and put our money where our mouth is.
In Gaylord, Daniel Zivian, UpNorthLive News.
The open house is tomorrow night at Livingston Township Hall, north of Gaylord at 6 p.m. Fike says many more open houses are planned. Now, the project website gives an earliest completion estimate of 2029.
Old buildings tend to have two fates. They either fall to the wrecking ball to make way for new development, or someone comes along and makes the effort to save them, to bring them back to life. Well, that's the case in Leelanau County, where tonight a man is taking his vision for the former Empire School building before the public and the township, hoping to make sure the building stands and serves the community for another 100 years.
To me, it's a national treasure.
Talk with Joe Van Esley, and it's pretty clear. The former Empire School holds a pretty special place in his heart.
There were craftsmen, and if you look at the stonework, and if you go in there and you see the beams and everything else, it won't be reproduced. It will be gone. If it was gone, it's gone.
So 2 decades ago, when he was visiting from downstate and saw a for sale sign on it, well, he became its new owner.
Owner. I don't own it, it owns me.
Completed in 1901, the very fancy for the time 4-room schoolhouse served students until the last students left in 1968. Since then, a few different owners, but not a lot has changed.
Well, it's got a full-court gym in it, and it's got a basement, and the basement has the locker rooms and the showers.
10,000 square feet that served a purpose for decades ago. But that Joe says could serve a purpose for years to come. He's proposing a multi-use redevelopment of the building, keeping the good bones it has and letting the community drive what's inside.
And I envision, a lot of people from the community coming there and getting a sandwich and a coffee and taking yoga or playing cards or, kids daycare for kids or whatever, whatever it evolves in.
He says it will evolve to not only meet the high summer traffic numbers, but those who live here year-round as well.
In order to be successful, the more the merrier.
Before it can be used, work needs to take place to take that solid craftsmanship of the past and turn it into a space for the future.
We're doing a historic restoration. We're doing a brownfield. We're going to do energy efficiency. We're working with Consumers Power for energy efficiency on the windows, for the HVAC, for the insulation, for the lighting.
That will come. For now, Joe's listening to the needs and working through the process, hoping that this building can once again serve the community that surrounds it.
It's not functional. We want to make it functional. And if we have people from the community involved, then it will be its highest and best use.
And Joe says part of going through that process is working with the MEDC and local governments to figure out what the best next step to take is. While it's taken a fair amount of time to get to this point, the hope is, by many, that the project picks up momentum and finds its new purpose quickly. And a reminder, for the latest look at news, sports, and weather, you can go to our website, UpNorthLive.com.
Coming up, a new veterans cemetery could be built in Crawford County. The latest on the plans tonight.
And a round of snow and wind that'll pair up, but not tomorrow. We'll take a look at when that arrives after the break.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.